2,000 um, over 2,000 housing solutions through various programs that the government is putting in place to deal with the housing solutions for our people. So we'll continuously see the building. The other matter is the hospital, as I mentioned before, and healthcare. We see that at Fort Thomas, the construction is moving full speed ahead. And we will also see the Performing Arts Center, which I've never mentioned before. But I think on this Friday, we'll have the groundbreaking for the Performing Arts Center. I've never mentioned that before because I don't like to mention things until the ink is dry. And that, I think, would be a significant step in us achieving what we want to achieve to expand our creative economy as part of a diversified economy. In terms of our tourism product, we continue to see increased numbers. In terms of arrivals, we have surpassed the pre-COVID levels because of our strategy to enhance tourism here. In terms of arrivals at the airport. And when you look at the port in Basti, it's very, very busy. Very, very busy. Today we have 4 cruise ships. It has become the norm now to see multiple cruise ships. But in addition to that, we have diversified further with the yachting sector. If you go over right now at Safe Harbor, Christopher Harbor, you will see the largest number of yachts. So far, we have brought in well over 125 yachts into that, in just that short period. We have 500 plus calls, interest for Safe Harbor. But again, Safe Harbor is building out. And we will have business meeting and a startup weekend because we're going to introduce our people into the business of yachting. The yachting sector here has the potential to be even bigger than the cruise sector. And it is more involved because you need businesses to do all sorts of things with the yachting business. They need all sorts of provisioning and services. And so we're going to have what you call a startup weekend where the professionals will come in and introduce to our people the different services that are needed in this sector and how they can form small businesses and become a part of the yachting sector in St. Kitts and Nevis. The yacht, Safe Harbor, is the largest marina company in the world. We were able to attract them, and we intend to compete with places like St. Bart's and St. Martin and so forth. We have the harbor, we have the space, we have the land. And so that will be parcel of our diversification plan here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And further on renewable energy, apart from the solar plant, we expect in February to sign off for the geothermal in Nevis. A company has already been selected. The procurement process, I spoke to the CDB, the president, and he told me that we expect to sign after the financial due diligence, that we expect to sign for the solar, for the geothermal in February. As you know, this is a federal effort to make sure that we can get geothermal going here in the Federation. This is the furthest we have reached with geothermal in our history, and we intend to see it through. So I'm happy for that. So while we would have been speaking about CBI, and the day will come when CBI will no longer serve us, I guess our people are now recognizing why from day one I said it would be the most challenging, and we had started the process already of economic diversification. And so we are seeing it. In the manufacturing sector, we are going to see that as well. Because I can tell you there will be a new factory built in the Green Valley area of St. Kitts and Nevis that will be doing water storage tanks. And that will be done by a local company. And they should start construction, if they have not started the construction of the factory this month. I didn't speak about it before because, again, I don't speak about things unless the ink is dry. And I'm sure people are surprised to hear that we're going to build a factory where we're going to produce here in St. Kitts and Nevis the water storage tanks, those big tanks that you buy of all sizes and types. And then the next stage will be to also do what I would call the spouts, or what you put on the houses to collect the water harvesting, the gutters, so to speak. All that will be made from PVC. That will be done right here in the Keon area of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is basically ongoing. So I know I mentioned a few new things today that I did not mention before, but they are exciting things for us to really take note of and will benefit our people in terms of jobs and getting St. Kitts and Nevis to a diversified economy. There are much more things to to discuss, but I wanted to discuss this. With respect to international relations, our approach has been what I call proactive diplomacy and not to be reactive in any way. We have engaged international partners on the CBI program, as I've said before, and even beyond. We have engaged our partners and those who have been close to us over the many, many years and the many, many things, I would say, that are of international interest and importance. Recently, we have seen what has happened in our region with respect to Venezuela. A statement was put out by CARICOM. Let me say to our people that in approaching diplomacy, one has to evaluate very carefully what are the risks and benefits. My first objective always is to protect St. Kitts and Nevis and our people. That is my first action. St. Kitts, Nevis first. And so any decision that is made with that in mind. How can we first protect ourselves? And then from ourselves, we move out. Within the CARICOM construct, I am now the chair of CARICOM. And to clarify for people, I am not the chair for CARICOM is a function where you coordinate all of the countries that are members of CARICOM. Any statement that comes from CARICOM is a statement of consensus, not the chairman or the chairperson. The chairperson speaks to the consensus reached because these are individual countries, sovereign countries that come together and we will take the chairmanship, and the chairman is who facilitates that all of this be done. It's almost like being the chair of a meeting. You are not the prime minister of the region. You are not the president of the region. You do not speak specifically for any country. But what happens, the statements that come out, is after robust discussions, what is the consensus reached to be released as a CARICOM statement. So I wanted to make that clear because I see things around what is the CARICOM chairman saying and what is the CARICOM chairman doing. And just to let people know that the fundamental role of CARICOM chairman is, our CARICOM chairperson is a coordination role. You're not the president of the Caribbean, and you're not the prime minister of the Caribbean. And therefore, that is done when everybody comes together, discussions are had, and a statement is reached that. As we continue to build out our foreign policy, and as we continue to build out our engagement, we have taken a very proactive engagement. From the onset, I want to speak to the matter of third-party nationals, because I see that it has been asked about. And I will read something very quickly. And I want us to understand that St. Kitts and Nevis, of course, was approached by the United States of America as the other CARICOM countries. And we took a very proactive approach in sitting with the Americans to reach an arrangement that I think that arrangement is in keeping with our principles and, of course, having the collaboration with the United States of America as well. I know we are intelligent people. I know we have been looking very closely, and I know our people understand that the geopolitical environment at this time is not what we have been accustomed to. We know that there have been shifts, and so being proactive is very important, and I want to thank our people, of course, who have been involved in this. So St. Kitts and Nevis has negotiated and entered into a memorandum of understanding with the United States of America for the potential transfer of certain third country nationals. And I want us to listen carefully, who are citizens or nationals of the Caribbean community. This does not involve anybody outside of CARICOM. And this is in keeping with our CARICOM principle. And I will further say that because of security matters, it does not include Haiti at this particular time. It does not involve anybody from any other place outside of the CARICOM region. Under the arrangement, the United States may propose transfers of CARICOM nationals. This is what St. Kitts and Nevis has negotiated, without violent or sexual criminal backgrounds. And St. Kitts and Nevis may accept them. We are not obliged according to the MOU. The MOU contemplates jointly develop operational procedures, including capacity-based limits and logistical arrangements. So in St. Kitts and Nevis's negotiations, through our proactive diplomacy, this only contemplates CARICOM citizens. At this time, for security reasons, excluding Haiti. These CARICOM nationals, they are without violent or sexual criminal backgrounds. I think there might be different discussions with other jurisdictions, but in St. Kitts and Nevis, the CARICOM nationals, excluding Haiti at this time for obvious security matters, and thirdly, these persons cannot be violent or sexual criminals, and it has to be agreed to between our partner, the United States of America, and St. Kitts and Nevis. We are a CARICOM country. CARICOM citizens can come to St. Kitts and Nevis, and all CARICOM countries, I think, have agreed to receive their people. So it means, therefore, that this arrangement of, I would call, collaboration really is a scenario that is in keeping with our CARICOM principles. It is not one cap that fit all. It depends on what each country negotiated. But we negotiated proactively, because as I've said, we have taken the approach of what I will call very proactive diplomacy, that is a diplomacy in good faith, so that the best scenarios can be reached, considering all of the factors involved. For those people who are questioning the importance of CARICOM, CARICOM is not perfect. And CARICOM may not get it 100% right all of the time. But I just want to say to people that without CARICOM, the region will be way behind. Every country in the region will be further back. I will name some of the institutions within the CARICOM that people don't even know exist. But St. Kitts and Nevis cannot do 1/10 of what we do with CARICOM if we were not a part of CARICOM. Very important. For example, CDEMA. CDEMA is the arm of CARICOM that deals with emergency and disasters. St. Kitts by itself is not able to do all that is necessary for preparation, response, if we were to deal with any disasters and emergencies at this point in time. But being with CDEMA, which is a CARICOM organ, that puts St. Kitts and Nevis in a very good space. So each time there's a hurricane to hit or threaten us, CDEMA gets activated, and the resources from the CDEMA start to filter into St. Kitts and Nevis if we are expected to be hit. Before the storm, during the storm, and after the storm. The other organ, CARFA. CARFA has to do with public health. St. Kitts by itself cannot do everything that CARFA does. If we were to come out of CARICOM, our public health will be in serious trouble. And this is the organ of CARICOM. CARICOM impacts will deal with security matters. We can't do it by ourselves. The Caribbean Tourism Organization, SICRI, that deals with energy, renewable energy. If we did not have SICRI, a lot of these studies and development we have had in the renewable energy space, even the geothermal, we would not have been able to do it. It would have been extremely challenging to be done. We have CARICOM Development Fund, CDF. And CDF is involved right now with projects here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have the University of Guyana, which is now part of CARICOM. The Caribbean Council of Legal Education. The University of the West Indies is as a result of CARICOM. We could not have had a university system here where our people would have access to all of these courses if we weren't a part of CARICOM. CTU, Caribbean Telecommunications Union. Caribbean Meteorological Organization. CXC is CARICOM. And I can go on and on and on. CADI, Caribbean Organization of Tax Administration, Caribbean Agriculture, Health and Food Safety Agency. So from law to medicine, to disaster response, to banking, to education. As I go through the list of all of these organs that are part of CARICOM and offer all of these services to us, if we were to do this by ourselves, we will not be able to do it. And hardly any country in the Caribbean will be able to do this by themselves. Even Jamaica, when they were hit by the hurricane, the first agency outside was from the CARICOM. Afterwards, we see the filtering of linesmen from Canada and here and so forth, but CARICOM responded first. And so when we think of CARICOM, I want us to think about UE, CXC, CDB, CDEMA, which deals with disasters, CARFA, which deals with public health, Caribbean, the CDB, Caribbean Development Bank, CDF, Caribbean Development Fund. And the list goes on and on and on. So CARICOM is not perfect, but without CARICOM, I can say that our development would have been a couple of decades behind. And because of CARICOM, there's a greater sense of security for us. And the last one I will mention is the RSS, the Regional Security Systems. Why is that important? If something were to happen in any CARICOM country at this time, the RSS can mobilize very quickly to bring security or to attempt to bring security. That is when your own security system is overwhelmed if you are part of the RSS system, and we are part of that system. And we know that because some people will say if things get out of hand, is the RSS coming in? People ask that question all the time. And the only reason why we have an RSS is because we have a CARICOM. That is a service of the CARICOM that we benefit from heavily. And RSS does a lot of work, train our police officers, train our military, monitor our security system so that if there's any upheaval, anything that threatens our security, whether internally or externally, we know we can call an RSS. And this is offered, of course, to all of the members of the regional security system. Why did I go through that? Because I hear a lot of talk about what is CARICOM saying, what is CARICOM doing. We cannot say that CARICOM is not facing a tremendous situation at this point in time. But I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that CARICOM has delivered and continue to deliver. And we should continue on the pathway of the integration movement. Sometimes things you want to achieve may not be achieved overnight. There might be setbacks here and there, challenges here and there, but we must not give up. Because when you look at the benefits far outweigh what would be the other scenario if they were not in place. And therefore, I'm very proud of what CARICOM has delivered to the region and what CARICOM has delivered to St. Kitts and Nevis. And I say this because we benefit from these things. And sometimes we don't even know where they're coming from. We go to UE. Why can I go to UE and get economic costs? Caribbean Development Bank. You write your CXC exams? Why do we have that? The IRS is coming in. Where does that come from? There's a disaster here. How do we know that a hurricane is coming? What is our response? Who is preparing us or who is working with us? All these things are because of CARICOM. And we would not be able to do these things alone. We are just too small to effectively do all of these things alone. And so CARICOM put out a statement. It's a collaborative statement. You have to look at the diversity of views within CARICOM and seek to reach a consensus. And after a consensus is reached, that is what is put out. Would it be a perfect, as some people might have it? It will never be, especially when you're dealing with a consensus type of situation. I mean, people are in personal relationship, just you and one person. And you have to reach consensus at times, and nobody gets 100% of what they think they should get. But the better scenario is when there's a consensus so that everybody can have a space at the table. And so I want to see that. The last thing I will talk to after touching on the matters with respect to that is there's some benefits from the budget. For example, we now have the lifetime $1 million coverage for all civil servants and GAE workers. So you have that. And there is no change in terms of fees. It's still subsidized by the government. And for the first time, retirees have lifelong coverage. Your coverage does not end at all. Your coverage goes until God calls you home. Because what used to happen, people used to cut off at 75. And sometimes it's at those later years that you really need health insurance. And so we have now shifted that to benefit our people who have lifelong health insurance with once you're a civil servant or GAE worker. Not only that, the benefit used to be $100,000. After you're retired, we have carried it from $100,000 up to $500,000. So just think about that. I think that's a significant increase. It has increased exponentially. And then the amount you pay depends on how much you used to work for. So those who work for a smaller amount will pay the least amount to keep their benefit going. This is what you call solidarity, that you have a system where everybody works to benefit everyone else. And so I want to say that I'm very, very happy that we're able to reach this. This year, we are going to start the national conversation, national health insurance. We have achieved 2 significant milestones: national health insurance expansion for our civil servants and GAE workers, working and retired. And now we have set up the Children's Medical Fund, which has worked excellently well. And now it's time to take the conversation to the general population. And that conversation is to be had. A lot of studies have been done in terms of the cost, what it would mean, so we can discuss with our people so that our people can determine where we go. But we are going to present to our people what is the actual scenario with respect to all of these things. So I just wanted to give that update. It's the first of the year, and I wanted to give that update with respect. There's some other things that I wanted to talk about, but I will touch them in my wrap-up if they don't come out in questions at all. And so I'll end it there, Mr. Javon.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We can move straight into it, yes, Ms. Brandon.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
I normally go last, but I'm going first today.
Okay.
When we speak about negotiations with the U.S., especially this new U.S. under a Trump administration, it's nothing like we've ever seen before. So I would like to be very frank and ask, in these negotiations, what did St. Kitts and Nevis ask for? Because it implies mutual benefit. I'm speaking specifically to the third party.
Right.
It is deportation we're talking about, those persons who might come to us. If they're coming to us...
They can only be CARICOM
within
nationals.
CARICOM, of course. So even if they are coming to us and we are not accepting Kittitian and Nivisian nationals, we have expectations that we have obligations to these people. what about those people who are not from St. Kitts and Nevis? They're going to use resources, they're going to require health care, and there are a number of things that are going to be required. So, what did we ask for in the negotiations with the United States, particularly when we are receiving persons who are not nationals specifically of St. Kitts and Nevis? And anyway, in the negotiations with the US, did we seek to have conversations that would look to protecting our citizenship by investment program, for example, although it does not have anything directly to do with third party, you have a table open to you where conversations can be had. Concerned about that and would like to ask that question. The second question I'll ask for now is with relation to this Venezuela ongoing situation. Again, something we have never seen before, but I don't think a lot of people are putting specific emphasis on the Petro-Caribe agreement that we have with Venezuela. I'm concerned because we are now seeing the enforcement of US sanctions. We are seeing the seizure of vessels containing oil. The global market now is floating at between $57 and $60 a barrel for oil, which is not terribly high compared to 2008 when it was about $100+ a barrel for oil. However, under the arrangement with Petrocaribe, what we had essentially is financing for oil, which gave us a greater degree of energy security. What happens to us now with this situation ongoing with the US, Venezuela, and our needs, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but for those of us who have arrangements with Venezuela with respect to Petrocaribe?
Right, thank you very much. With respect to the CARICOM nationals who might come here, it is contemplated that all of the costs will be borne by the United States of America. Yes, the travel, if they have to stay here, all of that will be borne by the United States of America. So it will be no cost to us. As a matter of fact, I had a call with the embassy today. So we're going to meet to put all of, the costing and everything in place so that it can be as smooth as possible. And then, there are CARICOM nationals and we can facilitate their return. And all of the CARICOM countries have already accepted that they will take their people, right? So I think is where the negotiations went, and that is where we are at with that. With respect to Petrocaribe, again, because you speak about the sanctions, we have not received any petroleum through Petrocaribe for a long time. So that will not directly affect us, right? Because as you know, the sanctions were there and so forth, and we respected what was there. It would be best case scenario if things were different and we can receive this special arrangement. But I can say we have not for some time, and we have been moving on without it, keeping in mind that we can't depend on it. And that is why it's so important when I speak about the energy independence, the 50 megawatt solar plant, the geothermal and needs, because it is very important that we develop our own source of energy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Once we become energy independent, it means we will be water sufficient instead of scarce at this point in time. And once we have energy and water, we can grow a lot more food. So we need energy, water. So the energy, water, food nexus is what we are seeking to develop. And you will see that. We have been speaking about it, but it has started. Because when you go to the farm, and I hope when I go and I invite the press, some of you will come. When we go to the greenhouse village, when I visit with the Minister of Agriculture, so y'all can see what we are doing, when the solar farm is going to be built, and the geothermal, according to CDB, the final signing should take place in February of 2026, and we should have drilling for geothermal starting this year. That is what is projected. But just to let you know, things can always shift, but that is where we are at this particular time. So the bigger question is, how do we become energy independent so that what is happening in Venezuela, the fluctuation of the oil prices around the world, that they don't affect us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is why we have taken the path to become energy independent. So these are very good questions, and I hope that I have answered those two questions for you as such.
That's just a short follow-up to the first one, though. The US is going to be covering the expenses, great, so that's not coming out of taxpayer dollars, but how long do we expect to host them before they move on to their own countries?
Well, all of that, that will be discussed in the logistics, what will be the logistics surrounding it. So I can tell you they will not be criminals. The only infraction they would have is that they probably overstayed in the United States of America. And once they're here and they are going to be dependent, there would be a mechanism put in place where there's no cost to us. And that is what I said we're going to negotiate. And I will keep our people updated accordingly in this particular scenario.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Jura.
Good afternoon.
I just wanted to touch on the question about the third country deportees.
Yes.
What concrete benefits does this agreement provide to the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, and how does the government justify this decision in the national interest?
Okay, good. So if you were to look at, and we have to understand what is happening with respect to negotiations. So we have negotiated this with the U.S., which the U.S. wanted to negotiate. As a partner, we went to the table and we negotiated it. We asked for some safeguards, obviously, from a security standpoint. One, that these are our CARICOM people. We have CARICOM movement in St. Kitts and throughout the CARICOM. That is already as an established agreement throughout CARICOM. So it does not necessarily infringe on anything that we have already. That's one. Secondly, as I said before, the cost will work out to be borne by the country that would ask for us. And we have the option to determine if this is the right fit for us or not based on this scenario. And the benefit is those are some of the things we will negotiate as well. What that would be like. This is the MOU, so we have a memorandum of understanding, and then we'll put those logistical pieces in place to determine the specifics. But as you can see here, we are making sure that it does not, while we negotiate and while we have good bilateral relations, which you would know helps in a lot of different areas. I mean, we know the reality of the geopolitics. It does not put us at a disadvantage in any way, shape, or form, from a security standpoint, from a cost standpoint, and of course, once we negotiate it even down further to determine how else St. Kitts and Nevis. And you asked about what other things put on the table. We're always negotiating with the United States of America. Let me tell you what I've come to recognize at this particular point. If it's one thing I've come to recognize, that the United States of America is willing to talk. I've come to recognize that. Each time they put something out and you said, look, this is something that we'd like to have a discussion on and so forth, they're very willing to have discussions. And I think being proactive about it, not allowing things to get to a crisis mode and then you have to go back, I think it is the best way. Because if you look at where we have come because of our type of diplomacy, we were on a list to be banned. We know that. It came out, I think, is March last year. And then another list came out after that. We know that, for whatever the reasons are. But we believe if something like that happens, just like others, we would engage in diplomatic discussions, good faith diplomatic discussions. What are your concerns? St. Kitts Nevis, Mr. Prime Minister, these are our concerns, which we take very seriously. Because any country that reaches out, it doesn't matter if the country is big or small, I think that there needs to be a proactive type of approach and discussions in good faith. Why do I say that? I mean, let's say Stacia reach out and Stacia say, can we have a collaboration with Chicks for our egg security? And Gwilla reach out, we want to see what your crime from a public health perspective is. You don't just, you negotiate, you discuss, and you help as far as possible. Where can we reach? Because in negotiation and relations are, they're multifaceted. They have a lot of moving parts. One thing might seem isolated, but we know it is not isolated at all. It's connected to a lot of other things. We know that. And I think the people of St. Kitts and Nevis understand that. They understand the geopolitical environment. They understand how does a country continue to thrive in a particular geopolitical environment without burying our heads in the sand. But those are good questions that we have made sure from a cost perspective we are protected, from a national security perspective that we are protected. And so we I think that would not be detrimental to us in any particular type of way. But you asked about the CBI and have we negotiated that. We have had discussion with the US since I came into office, and we continue to have them. And I continue to take their concerns very seriously. I don't think you should just brush their concerns under the rug. Their concerns should be taken very seriously, just like any other country, and have meaningful, good faith discussions and see the best scenario you can reach at to protect your people, to protect your country, to protect your economy. All decisions are not easy decisions. And I didn't expect that the decisions would be easy. But one of the things, or the most important things that guides me, is how would our people feel? Not F-E-A-R, okay? Not that type of fear. How would our people do? Let me use a different word so that there is no ambiguity. That is what guides me. How would our economy do? What about our long-term well-being? All those things have to be factored in at this particular time. And so one decision, even though it seems like one decision, is connected to 100 other things. And so these questions that are being asked are solid and excellent questions. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Good afternoon, everyone. I have two unrelated questions.
Sure.
First, what should residents here know about what's happening between the US and Venezuela and other players? And how can we prepare for the impacts? And related to that is, what is the government doing in the spirit of proactive diplomacy to mitigate negative and unwanted outcomes? For example, we saw airspace closed for a bit, other things like that. But especially the focus on how individual and citizens, residents will be impacted. And then the next question for now is, some countries or harbors are known for or have expertise in specific services provided to yachts, like carpentry and woodworking.
Yes.
Is there an intention to train for specialist offerings here?
Thank you. Very, very good question. Yes. As a matter of fact, at the startup weekend, we intend to do this. There has been a company that has expressed interest in actually doing some yacht building here. And we are in negotiations. I didn't mention it because the ink is not dry, but since you brought it up, I mentioned it. So I wouldn't say it is done, but I can say that it's in negotiations. But that is how far they want to go. Why? Because the harbor here is one of the largest, and it can accommodate super yachts and multiple of them. It is a prize harbor. I consider it a prize marina. And therefore, they see the potential that can be had. Already, you would know Safe Harbors invested significant amount. They have their own desalination plant, for example. They produce about 70,000 gallons of water per day. And what they have said to us, in the off season, when the yachts are not coming in as much, that they would offer that water to us. This is the first time I'm saying it. So that would help to strengthen our water security. Their desalination plant is already working. It's a 70,000 gallon desalination plant, I can tell you. That's just one of the things. I've invested heavily over there. And therefore, I think what you are saying with respect to carpentry, even beyond that, they are looking for these special. As a matter of fact, they have asked because they bring in a lot of people. Because the yachting sector needs these specialists. And not that our people can be trained to do these jobs and to take up these professions, but to really open up this season, they had to bring in a lot of specialists to really get the sector started. But the hope is to get those specialists trained here. So when I meet with Safe Harbor, one of the things I'll put for them, can you collaborate with our college to start the training for the yachting sector in the college? So I'm hoping we can have, let's say, our first course next year. That will be part of it. So we can say, let's train 50, 100 young people and prepare them in the college. So by the time they get into the sector over there, they will be well prepared. So you are correct. So the yachting sector needs all of these things, I can tell you. To the point where they're asking about yacht building. Of course, this is very high level, but of course, our people can be part of that as well. Now, you ask about mitigating the outcomes and so forth. Now, in the proactive aspect of diplomacy, we want to know, what will happen and how we can prepare our people to deal with some of these fallouts. It so happens that sometimes you might have all of the information at the same time. But in developing these channels to find how can we develop a channel to make sure we get the pertinent information at the right time so that we can do what is necessary. I consider there's some effort to do that. For example, with the third party nationals, they will sit with us and we'll sit together and work out a framework. So we know already what to expect, what not to expect, and we put our scenario that we can work with on the table, for example. So it's not just doing it, but being proactive in making sure that we know the parameters or the factors that would be involved and how they can impact our people. So that comes from part of our proactive diplomacy. And so we want to continue to work this type of, I would say, interaction, collaboration, so that the best scenario for us would be had. And so that is where we are with that. But that question with respect to making sure that we mitigate, we continue to work on that. I know you might speak when the airspace was closed, for example, and how that might have affected flights. And then some people could not get out. The best case scenario, of course, would be to know ahead of time that something like that might happen. And that, based on what is being done, it depends on how much information might be flowing at a particular time. But it is always the objective to get the best case scenario and to see how best you can position your country even in challenging times. All right. Yes.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Happy New Year.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year to you.
And Andre Huey, SK Newsline and TVC Channel 40. On the third-party countries question, I know that the U.S. adopted this policy for countries, for nationals of countries that, for some reason or the other, are refusing their nationals from returning. What conditions would require a CARICOM citizen or any country in CARICOM not accepting their citizen that is being deported that would warrant them sending that person to St. or those persons to St. Kitts and Nevis? I don't know if that was discussed in your discussion. And as chair of CARICOM, and I've seen you've outlined CARICOM's stance essentially on this issue with Venezuela. But there are still some who believe that CARICOM's statement was not strong enough, that it could have been stronger, that there should have been a definitive condemnation, so to speak, of what the US did. What do you say to those persons, critics, who believe that CARICOM needed to be stronger in its response to this new development?
Thank you very much for your two questions. Good. Now, with respect to the scenario of a CARICOM national who cannot be returned to their country, there might be very, very few cases that might be a possibility. Very few cases. So that is why we don't expect an influx of CARICOM nationals who will be coming from the United States to St. Kitts and Nevis. But let's say for some reason there are a few CARICOM nationals for some reason cannot return. Nothing to do with crime or violence, for whatever the scenario might be. And we say that we are open to consider our CARICOM brothers and sisters in those scenarios, with the United States partnering with us for bearing some of that cost. Presently, if you have a CARICOM national in any country and it's not a matter of crime and violence, and a leader picks up the phone and calls me and says, Mr. Prime Minister, I would like to have that national in St. Kitts and Nevis. We do it all the time. I don't know, something we don't, we do it. We do witness protection all the time. We take in CARICOM, country to country, negotiations, discussions. I can take 2 of your people, and sometimes they take our people. We just don't advertise it. So we have that type of framework already set up in CARICOM. And it happens all of the time. So that is in keeping with what we do as a region already, for whatever the scenario might be. So if we don't see much scenarios like that, that is why we don't expect there would be an influx. However, let's say there is a very few, it already fit into the framework of accepting some CARICOM nationals for special circumstances that we don't disclose at all, but is in keeping with what we do as CARICOM countries. And that is already obtained within our region. Even within the OECS, for example, because of our movement, someone can move from, let's say, Lower Windward and move into St. Kitts, and they have the rights to work and live in St. Kitts and Nevis within the OECS. Some countries have now gone to establish that with CARICOM. 4 countries have entered into that. And I think as we go on and we put all of the framework in place, it's going to expand. But presently it is Barbados, St. Vincent, Belize, and Dominica. If you're in Dominica, you can just go to Belize, register, and start to work and live in Belize, because they have agreed that those 4 countries at this time are ready for the free movement between them. So that is where we are heading. But outside of that, we already have arrangements where we move our citizens for various reasons, country to country, to have them be in a different country, apart from the skill certificate. Because if somebody has a skill certificate in a CARICOM country, they can come here and work. And if you have a skill certificate as a Kittitian, you can apply to another CARICOM country to work in that area. And that is why we wanted to do the TVET and the CVQs, because a lot of people come here with the CVQs from other countries, and we recognize we were disadvantaged. Our people were not getting that skill certificate so they can go. For example, a carpenter. Let's say you have a big hotel being done in Bahamas, and you are a skilled tradesman. You can use a skill certificate and go to Bahamas to work. Let's say we have a big hotel working here, and we need a skill that we don't have here. A Bahamian with a skill certificate might be able to come here to work. And that is why we want our skilled people to move around, because you might need skilled workers in one area, depending on the scenario at a particular time. And so we have had that. We have had where workers came from Guyana, for example, during the sugar industry, and they came and they worked. Many of them stayed. They are citizens today. They live here among us. So we don't expect to see an influx, and we expect to see just a few scenarios where that might have to be, and that will be an arrangement. So that is no economic strain on St. Kitts and Nevis with respect to get our CARICOM brother or sister, whoever, to move. That's one. With respect to CARICOM statement is a collaborative statement. It is a joint statement. In CARICOM, you have all of these independent sovereign countries and associate members. It's mainly between the independent countries or the sovereigns. And a scenario is put forward and a statement is to put out. The statement involves everybody. Let me tell you, let's say you put out a statement and countries start to dissent. You see what happened between 2 Tories recently. A statement went out, 2 countries end up on different sides of the statement, and a big spat in public with one country eventually settled down, and I think, calm heads prevailed. But if each time CARICOM is to put out a statement, and you have a country dissent, and this one dissent, and that one dissent, and then you have this spat in public, that does more damage to CARICOM than really getting around the table and saying what is the best situation we can reach in terms of putting out a statement to deal with a particular scenario. It does not necessarily have to be what is happening with Venezuela and so forth, but it can be on almost any other issue. And so CARICOM is a collaborative effort. And I want to say to our people again that the chairman does not write statements for CARICOM. What the chairman does with the secretariat is coordinate to make sure that everybody participate in the issuing of the statement. So you do preliminary statement, you put it there, people comment on it, what they can tolerate, what they cannot tolerate, what they think should be changed, what they, So everybody has a chance to see it and to discuss it and to see. And you always seek to get what I would say the best case scenario, meaning that all states can really sign on to whatever the eventual statement is. And that is how the process works. So sometimes, let's say you have one state who say, let's send out this type of statement. She says, say this. Another state going to say, no, but I don't think that should be in it. Let's consider this. Let's consider that. This we think should not be there. And this one will say, include that. So, it's like, just think about even your own home, you're negotiating with your wife. You have an opinion, your wife has an opinion, or your partner has an opinion, or even your family members, and you're trying to reach the best scenario on which to go forward. And so that is how CARICOM operates. If you go to the European Union or any other scenario where you have multiple countries in an arrangement, ours is the integration movement of Caribbean nations, that is how it is obtained. So I just wanted to stress that, and that is a very good question. So I know there were questions about the statement could have been stronger. Some say, you should not have mentioned this. Even when you're arguing that should have been stronger, there are those who think really something should not have even been mentioned. So you're still trying to find that ground where everybody can, whatever statement is had, is palatable to all around the table. That's what we seek to do. So that is how it works with CARICOM. Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's see if they have.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
So last year we saw, and I believe felt, a reduction in homicides,
Yes.
specifically gun-related ones. However, this year we unfortunately saw the fatal stabbing of a young man just 2 days into the year and during one of our biggest celebrations. What are programs like Elevate and your National Security Ministry doing this year to reduce violence even further, especially among people who are not yet known or might not yet be known to Elevate? And just seeking any updates on the construction of the new BHS.
All right, no problem. Now, with respect to that, as you can say, and I want to take this opportunity to really congratulate the efforts of all involved, the police, Commissioner Sutton and his team, his high command and his team, the Defense Force, Acting Commander Sutton and his team, and all of the soldiers there. I want to thank all those who have been a part of the Citizen Security Secretariat, who have worked tirelessly hard on this, all of our partners, because to take the crime rate down, overall, homicides dropped by about 76%, and gun-related dropped by over 80-something%. It is the biggest drop across the whole region. It is bigger than Jamaica, it is bigger than Trinidad and Tobago, or any other country. And I would say that that is tremendous, and that in itself stands on its own. Our objective is to get to perfection. That is the objective. But sometimes along the way, perfection is, it deludes you sometimes. But we still want to reach that scenario. However, it must be noted a significant achievement. And so Elevate has put a number of programs in place, because this is police in collaboration with the social aspect and other aspect of citizen security that are working here. It is not just about knowing who is known, but it's about being proactive as well. We have started, for example, through Elevate, proactive programs in the prison to decrease return to prison, recidivism. We identify who you are when you come out, and there's a meeting to be had to see what is your scenario when you get out, and what can we do so you don't return to prison. In the prison, we have the farm program, the education program. We have yoga and all these things in prison as well. And we have I think it's called Hearts of Love, where we allow prisoners to meet their children. For example, we had that over the Christmas. All these are programs that help in the rehabilitation of those who are in prison at this particular time. We have the after school or the suspension program, where children used to be suspended and be sent home. Now you're not sent home, you're sent to a program when you are suspended. That program presently is being conducted at the Keys Community Center, where you come and you have to do your work. Because we have the technology, they have access to computers, and their education do not stop, and it is structured and organized instead of sending you on the street. We have programs where we interact with multiple social groups to get them a part of the whole concept of citizen security, so that within their organization, they're also spreading the message of citizen security and anti-violence. With the security forces, we have started the security forces sports program, football, where we have hundreds of children. We had a young man who got a scholarship to the United States out of that program. We have program at Elevate. Do you know that Elevate is a CXC certified center? So the members can actually write their CXC exams at the Elevate Center. And so we have free classes for our members and others, the community in general, and they can go there. So you might be people who are not identified to be in anything, but we want to take care of those who are vulnerable as well. And so this program is cast a large net, and I would say citizen security, everything fits into that, from the law enforcement, the judicial system, all the way down to things like football, because it is an all of society approach when it comes to the question of citizen security. And so we will continue to work to make sure that we get it even better. But I have to say, and you must agree, that it has been a tremendous amount of work that has been done, and the results have, been astonishing. The last time we had single-digit homicides in a year, I wish for zero, but the last time we had single digits, 2003. 2003. Not even during COVID, when the place was locked down, that we had single digits. The last time was 2003. And the next time is 2025. That alone is a tremendous, tremendous achievement that must be pointed out. But what I pointed out here is all of the aspects of Elevate. We're now going to start a farming program. So we have an educational program. We're starting a farming program where we already have the land to get people into farming. We have an educational program beyond just the CXC. We had members who graduated from AVEC. They did their qualification at AVEC, and they're now working in the private sector. We had one of them who completed the teaching course and is now a teacher. Can you imagine that? From that to being a teacher? They have been totally rehabilitated, gone to school, studied, passed, have proven themselves and qualified themselves to be a teacher. And I said to the people at Elevate, you have to let people know what is happening. We had them do cybersecurity. We had them do the solar panel course that they passed. So, construction, EV, yes. So they have done multiple courses which they are passing. And then we are connecting them to jobs. We also have we have refurbished the Horizons. So we're going to have now Horizons will be part of the network of citizen security. So it's a very comprehensive approach that we have undertaken when it comes to citizen security, and to touch those who are not even identified. Because it's supposed to be all of society when it comes to this matter. But I would like to say that this has been a tremendous achievement. St. Kitts was identified as one of the countries that is safe to travel during the winter period by the United States of America. And so again, it shows that people are noting the tremendous achievement. And I want to encourage all of us in St. Kitts and Nevis to continue to work towards that. When you have crime and violence under control, that is why you had so much people coming into St. Kitts and Nevis, numbers surpassing pre-COVID time. Look at the cruise ships that are coming in. Sometimes they're not even scheduled. It is because people are regaining that strong confidence, even beyond what we expected in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so we must never, ever give up that. And so you ask a good question. For that young man who lost his life, of course, to his family, I want to extend my own condolences to the family and to the community. But I want the community to know that we'll continue to work, and we cannot do it without you. You have to be a part of the citizen security strategy and approach. Yeah. Yes, the Basti High School. Now, we have a number of critical projects to take place. The hospital, the school, Fort Thomas housing, and so forth. But I can say to you that the Basti High School is on its way. A lot of the structural things are being done outside of St. Kitts, to be shipped to St. Kitts to be erected. Like the steel structure, the steel frame, that cannot be done here. That is being done outside to be shipped here. So I can tell you that that is being done at this particular time. And so we'll know that that will be on its way. We have another, housing will be on its way. So there's a lot of construction that will take place this year as well. But it's ongoing, and we are waiting for the shipment of those steel structures to start to erect the frame of the Basti High School.
Prime Minister, I know recently an announcement was made about the Nigerian technical team that's here, particularly the nurses as well.
Yes.
Can you indicate or say whether or not this, well, I know it's to fill the shortage at the of nurses, but was there any requirement, or is this in any way trying to shore up any unforeseen issues with the United States as it relates to Cuban medical officials? I know in the case of Antigua, the Prime Minister clearly stated that they went for Ghanaian nurses primarily for that reason, because the U.S. was hostile to Antigua and Barbuda with the Cuban nurses, and so they needed to fill that gap. Was this in any way for St. Kitts Nevis, a similar situation for St. Kitts Nevis?
Thank you very much. The United States that I mentioned before had approached us, and they were concerned that the Cuban program might be connected to human trafficking. We have said to the United States, we take their concern very seriously, because St. Kitts and Nevis must never be part of anything that is considered to be human trafficking. That is against our principles as a country, that is against our laws, and therefore, if the United States or any other country who would bring that concern to us, we'll take it very seriously. We have been in dialogue with the United States on the program. I can say we have more Cuban doctors who are not connected to the Cuban brigade working in St. Kitts and Nevis. So those on the Cuban brigade are of a lesser number. So I can say that. Now, with the Nigerian, as I said before, when I launched the Back to Africa type of diplomatic outreach, you see how aggressive I was on it. It is because I envisaged that these are things we can collaborate on. Why should we put all of our eggs in one basket? We should never do that for nothing at all, neither for health professionals or anything else. And so we negotiated with Nigeria and discussed with them. A lot of Nigerian doctors were trained in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have given Nigeria a lot of doctors, and I'm proud of that. And Nigeria has sent to us, I think, a number of professionals. And these professionals are, of course, doctors. And the doctors who come from Nigeria, they send experienced people. They can't have less than 7 or 8 years of experience. So they're experienced healthcare professionals. So we have doctors, nurses, technicians, and so forth. Physiotherapists, nurse specialists in ophthalmology, that's eyes, anesthesiology, that's putting you to sleep. We have emergency room doctors, so people are going to work in the emergency room. We also brought a urologist, that's another prostate doctor, a male doctor. Because we have a lot of gynecologists, 4 or 5, but we only had 1 urologist. And we said men need good health care as well, because, women are covered, and they should be covered. Huh? And you hear? I hear we need more. And so now we have 2 urologists. And which one you said? Yes. Good. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, women need urologists too. That is true, right? Because they with the urinary tract. Not just the prostate. But at least now we have a second urologist. And then we're going to have about 2 or 3 more doctors in the emergency room who are experienced doctors to strengthen our emergency room as well. And so this is not directly connected to that. This was part of our strategy to diversify and reach out to the African continent to collaborate more. And healthcare is one of the things that we negotiated with them. We're also going to have nurses from Ghana. We already have nurses from Ghana. So as you can see, none of this is reactionary. None of this is reactionary. All of this was because of proactive diplomacy and foresight in our plan to diversify as far as we could. So while, so we're not scrambling at all. We are very comfortable. The doctors are here, the healthcare professionals are here, the Ghanaians are here as well. And so, how do you say it? Ghanaians, right, Ghanaians. They're here as well. And so we know we'll be covered. In addition to that, we have given scholarships to our nurses under very favorable conditions because we are short to get specialized, to get our people to specialize. And in the ICU right now, our nurses are specialized and they're local. Our doctor is a specialist. The first time we have an ICU specialist working at the hospital, and then we have ICU nurses who are specialized as well. And we are sending more nurses to specialize in ER and anesthesiology. So our aim right now is to get our nurses, our local nurses, to specialize. And they're already going and come back. So it's going to be strengthening our healthcare. So I'm very proud of how far we have come in such short space of time. But specifically to speak on with the Nigerians is not specifically about that. It was always our strategy to reach out to Africa and to diversify. So you see, that is why it's good to diversify. So now if you enter into a concern from the US that you have to take action, and we have already started to take action, it wouldn't leave you in a bind or you'll be rushing or reacting, but you will be very proactively and seamlessly making sure that your healthcare continues to improve and move on. So people would not even notice the difference, right? And so that is very strong. So I know in all of the areas where we have specialists, if you were to take out the Cuban specialists at this time, it would have minimal impact on the hospital. It would have some impact, but the impact has been mitigated significantly because of all the other things we have done.
Just to be clear, you don't have any medical professionals right now on the Cuban Brigade program, or you have
we have
smaller.
But the number is probably the smallest in a long time.
My learned colleague here asked the question I wanted to ask about citizen security. So I'm going to piggyback off of something that was said here in the first instance, which is why do we have such great difficulty attracting persons to find careers in healthcare?
Yes.
That's the first thing, because we keep coming back to healthcare and having to bring in healthcare workers, whether it's from Ghana, Nigeria, Philippines, Cuba, wherever. The substantive question I wanted to ask, though, is back again to this crisis facing our region right now, removing Venezuela from the situation, because that has already happened, that ship has sailed. What concerns do we have for, again, Cuba? Certain declarations have been made with regard to Colombia and Mexico. These are all immediate neighbors in the Caribbean Sea. All of them are washing the Caribbean Sea shores. What has, if any, conversations has CARICOM had with regard to the possibility of military action taking place in or around these countries?
Thank you very much. With respect to the healthcare workers, we continue to promote our people to get into the field. For example, one of the issues that we had with nursing is that they needed, I think, a science and maths, and a lot of the persons who were interested did not have these subjects. So we started a pre-nursing course at the college, and fundamentally to get them prepared for the full nursing course so they can get the maths and the science and so forth. So that is part of what we have done to get our people into the healthcare field. And to the scholarships that we are offering to our nurses to go and specialize, the special situation, conditions, or I would say, the lucrative conditions to get them to go and specialize that we have set up is to encourage our people to go. So we have taken action on that. And with respect to the medical aspect of it, we have sent doctors, people again to study overseas. and we are encouraging our UWI graduates to return home to contribute as well. That, I think we have a number of doctors at UWI who graduated that we should get them in, but we continue to send people overseas to study. As you can see, the healthcare needs continue to increase, but we are proactively pushing to get more of our people into the health sector because we need them. We need surgeons, we need radiologists, we need urologists, we need nephrologists, neurologists, all the gist that are there. We need them. We have we have the largest number of specialists we have ever had in our history. I can tell you that at the hospital. We have an endocrinologist, people may not know. We have an endocrinologist deal with diabetes and hormone problems. We have a neurologist who deal with nerves and seizures and epilepsy and fits, as we call them locally around here. And we have urologists now and nephrologists and oncologists and, radiologists. So we have a wide spectrum at this time of specialists at the hospital, almost any. The next one we're going to bring in is a cardiologist. So we'll have cardiology services starting in April of 2026, and we'll start stress testing as well.
Is compensation in this year?
Huh?
Compensation
For?
healthcare workers?
No, I don't think it is the major issue. Because the nurses, the issue was when we did the pre-nursing course, I'm not saying that it is not a deterrent. When we did the pre-nursing course, it filled up right away. So, and then the rejection was high. People just didn't apply because when they look at the requirement, they say, well, I don't have the science, and so I ain't gonna even apply. But when we said the pre-nursing course, you don't need them, we saw it failed. So then we recognize we don't have an issue with people being interested. It seems like the matter was, do people have the preparation and the requirements to actually get into the course? So in a sense, I think that has helped tremendously. With respect to, CARICOM, we have heard, OECS is going to meet, CARICOM is going to meet as well to discuss anything. CARICOM has put out the statement. But we don't have any direct information that there would be anything else on anybody else. We have not heard that, we have not seen that. We cannot say that it is not there. We cannot say that it is not there. But the best case scenario is that we'll keep proactively engaged so that the best situation can be had. And that is a challenging area. But we'll continue to do our best. Yes?
You can move straight into your
wrap up.
Wrap-up.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Press Secretary, Mr. Javan Liebert, who is always well prepared. I appreciate your hard work and dedication. I don't think people appreciate how much work you do behind the scene. One of the things I wanted to touch on was the Citizenship by Investment program again. And the reason why I'm touching on this is because we are seeing it a lot in the public, and I want it to be clear of where we at with respect to it. Now, under the Citizenship by Investment program, it was reported, and we have the numbers, that for the 7 years of Team Unity, they made about $600 million per year. Of course, it was a different scenario, and that was what they engaged in was unnecessary. It just brought scrutiny and challenges for us that we are facing today. However, if you were to multiply 600 million by 7, that will give you $4.2 billion. If you go back to the Nevis, to the Charlestown Accord, because I want to bring up of how Nevis was duped in all of this. I will go back to it. I just have to go back to it. Because I think people need to understand what happened here. In the first place, $4.2 billion, and you don't have water. How do you explain that? $4.2 billion, and you had an ambulance without oxygen. And you had a minister of health then standing up in parliament and saying, the reason why there's a shortage of ambulances is because ambulances are expensive. And you have $4.2 billion. $4.2 billion, and you never buy one new generator to be put at the power station. $4.2 billion, and you have a hospital that was leaking. $4.2 billion, and in 7 years, you could not build the Basti High School. And so one has to ask, what did you do with the money? This is the worst management of money that I have seen. How can you tell people, be boasting $4.2 billion, but the next question the person going to ask you, well, show me what you do with the money. And you can't show what you did with the money. But let me say, Nevis was guaranteed 25% of that money, 25% of that money on the Charlestown Accord that was signed in 2014. If you were to work out 25%, because is population per rata, if you were to work out 25%, how much should Nevis have gotten as a result of that? If it's 4.2 billion, at least $1 billion, right? At least $1 billion. Nevis only got $200 million. And I said it in the budget, and I have to say it again because I went back and looked back at the numbers. Just the money alone that came into the consolidated fund. I'm not even talking about the SIDF fund, which was about another $500 million. And Nevis got, that's $500 million, and Nevis got way below $100 million out of it. Nevis should have gotten $1 billion based on the agreement. That is attainable. That Nevis should not have been robbed. If they sign an agreement, stick to your agreement. So what was done with the money? If you kept Nevis money over here in St. Kitts, and Nevis, and you still ain't got water, you still ain't got a school, your hospital leaking, you still ain't got ambulances, you still ain't got enough generators to generate energy, then what did you do with the money? That is what you call grotesque mismanagement or gross mismanagement of the people's finances. And with less, we are doing desalination plant. With less, we are doing a school, the hospital, more housing. As I said, because we already surpassed how much houses they did because we're above 800 based on our policies and what we offer to our people. So what did you do with the money? And so I wanted to raise that again because I think this question needs to be asked of the former Prime Minister. What did you do with Nevis' $800 million at least? Where did it go? We need answers for that, of course. And so I wanted to raise that other matter with respect to that. And so I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to raise today. The other matter I wanted to raise was the SSZ. I promised the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that we would have an SSZ ad hoc committee to look at the legislation. So I just want to read a short statement. Here, the ad hoc advisory committee that I established to review the Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Act met for the first time yesterday, Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. The meeting was constructive and candid, with members engaging in open and frank discussion on the purpose of the Act, its structure, and the concerns and perspectives that have been expressed by the organization and the wider public. The initial engagement marks the start of a focused review process, and over the coming weeks, the committee will continue its deliberations and is expected to submit a report to me setting out its observations and recommendations, including any proposals for amendments or procedural enhancements to strengthen the Act, as I've said from the beginning. That report will be given careful consideration as part of this administration's ongoing commitment to transparency, good governance, and responsible economic development. This is the Act. It has nothing to do with any specific plan. This has nothing to do with destiny, and I want people to know that. I said from the beginning, the objective of the Act is to balance investments and to become attractive while protecting our sovereignty, our constitution, our laws. So when I hear country in a country, this Act is to make sure those things don't happen. And if there's any gaps, if there are any gaps in the law that can be perceived, the amendment is to make sure that that is not even perceived, if there are any gaps. So we are going to deal with that. If there are any issues that there might be a possibility of a country in a country, we want to deal with that. If there are any issues of sovereignty encroachment, we want to deal with that. If there are any issues that all of our laws will not be followed, we want to deal with that. There cannot be any court system outside of our court system. That is, our court system has the final say. There cannot be a police force that is outside of our police force. People can have their private security, but our police force is what runs the security of the country. And therefore, as I promised, that I will bring the committee together to look at this. That was always the plan. Let me say clearly, if we did not have this law in place, just like other major developments came and happened, and people did not know until they started, it would have been the same scenario if you are worried about any specific development. But this law says they must come to Parliament before they can go forward. And so I'm proud of what has happened here in terms of our people doing exactly what I wanted them to do. Discuss any major development that can affect St. Kitts and Nevis in a robust way so that the prison project does not happen again. We had a prison project here, and when it was asked about, the then government say it is an industry secret as to how much citizenship were offered. I can say to our people, up to 25,000 citizenships were offered under that project. I said the number before. Before they said they're going to hide the number because it's an industry secret. It cannot be an industry secret. The citizenship does not belong to you, it belongs to the people. That is why you can't call it a product. It is the highest office of any sovereign nation. Citizenship, it is sacred, and it has to be handled that way. And that's why it should never be bastardized. And that is why I condemn the statement that our citizenship is a product. It is not a product. It is the highest office of any member of our society. And it should be treated in that manner. And so therefore, I reject those comments with respect to that. But I'm simply saying, if you had this law in place, you couldn't have had a prison project without the people know beforehand. And you wouldn't have politicians telling the people it's an industry secret and they can't tell you. And therefore, this law is achieving what we wanted it to achieve: openness, transparency, and the robust debate of our people. So I want to thank all the members of the ad hoc committee, and I look forward to working with you as we seek to strengthen the legislation. And even after we strengthen it, if there's something else in there that needs to be strengthened, I go back to Parliament again and strengthen it, because our country must be protected. That is why this law has been put in place. And so with that, I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I want to thank the members of the press for your participation and allowing this type of forum to serve as a means of conveying pertinent information to our citizens. So thank you. Happy New Year once again, and take care for now. God bless.
I got the rock right now. I wanna shot right now. I'm in the drop right now. I'll pop a bitch right now. Right now. I got the rock right now. Right now. I wanna shot right now. Right now. I'm in the drop right now. Right now. I'll pop a bitch right now. Hold up. Hey. Rock it up, rock it up, rock it up, rock it up. Diamonds on me right now. Shop it up, shop it up, shop it up, shop it up. In Da Vinci right now. Pulling up, pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Drop the top. Bitch clown. Rock it up, rock it up, rock it up, rock it up. Million on me right. Hey. Rock it up, rock it up, rock it up, rock it up. Diamonds on me right now. Shop it up, shop it up, shop it up, shop it up. In Da Vinci right now.
Ladies.
All hail the queen, the new vice president of investment.
No. Stop. No, I was being modest. Keep going.
Girl, seriously, congratulations. This deserves a toast.
Hi, what can I get for you ladies?
More champagne, 3 kamikaze shots, a Long Island, and what do you want? I'll just breathe in her fumes.
Actually, do you guys still have that Hawaiian Kono macchiato?
Yes, we do.
I'll take one of those.
You and your coffee fetish. Obsession. You're still planning to pitch Glickman that Grand Cafe idea?
Absolutely, all a part of my master plan. And with this promotion,
This is not a PowerPoint party, which is why we didn't invite any of your fake work friends. We, your real friends, are here to celebrate your well-earned and much sacrificed promotion.
Oh, you guys, you shouldn't have. You guys, you really actually shouldn't have.
We just figured since you've been working so hard and now you got this promotion, that you should start taking care of your own interests.
And what interest is this?
Turning that desert back into the tropical oasis it used to be. How long has it been?
8 months, 2 weeks, 4 days, but who's counting?
Francesca, easy fix. Swipe right.
Really?
You need to start owning the strong, successful goddess that you are. Can't you see you have the pick of the wealthy litter right here? What about hedge fund Henry?
Sweet on the eyes, but as shallow as that bottle cap he was holding.
Trust fund Trevor.
Ew. He looks like he's already had 4 wives. Pass.
We're just trying to help. I mean, all you're missing is that good old long, strong vitamin D.
But I don't just want the D. I want more.
More? I don't get it. What more?
A friendship, a connection, hell, an undeniable electrifying spark.
Oh, like true love? True love, my ass. For real. This is New York.
I know. Aim for the moon.
Settle for financial parity. Or a new vibrator.
Here's your Kona macchiato.
Thank you.
Toast, ladies.
Cheers. Coffee consumers can purchase their coffee beans online, but they cannot purchase a coffee shop experience. I am not a desert. Mr. Glickman, as Vice President of Investments, it's time we make our move into the brick and mortar side of the coffee industry while the iron is hot. While the iron is hot. Last year alone, consumers spent over $19 billion at coffee shops. A consumer's relationship with coffee is deeply personal, and the human interaction that takes place in a coffee shop enhances the emotional connection and overall experience. This, in turn, sustains the loyal, repeat customers who associate their coffee with a special social interaction. They become addicted to the sense of belonging. What?
For what we know so far, the FBI has issued a search warrant for high-ranking financial executives who allegedly masterminded an account scam resulting in major bonuses and financial kickbacks. Managing Director John Glickman and newly appointed Vice President Francesca Good at the Bank of Merit have been targeted as prominent execs first to be exposed.
Glickman, can you please tell us why you did it? Was Francesca the mastermind behind your scheme? What do you have to say for yourself?
What do you want to say to your employees?
Not to worry about this. Just a misunderstanding, you'll see. And stay calm and don't say a word without the presence of your attorney.
You've got to be shitting me.
I'm freaking out. What if they come to my door?
Girl, relax. What did your attorney say?
Just to stay calm, but I can't. They're not letting anyone into the office.
You should have called me sooner.
Why, Anita? What were you gonna do?
Bury my foot in your boss's narrow ass. He set you up.
No, okay, we don't know that.
It's not your fault you make the perfect fall guy. Nice, likable, unsuspecting.
Really, Anita?
Glickman's a dick. Hope he gets tons of it too where he's going.
My promotion? Was it even real?
No, ma'am, okay? Don't you even start second-guessing yourself.
No. Okay, never that. I'm just a bit blindsided.
Seriously, sis. You just need to bring your butt back home to Hazelhurst, where it's safe.
Boring, slow. Leave all that madness in New York.
Anita, no, absolutely not. I am not tucking my tail and running. I'm gonna stay here, clear my name, and fight this. I'm sure my lawyer will clear all of this up and everything will be fine.
Well,
The good news is you won't be arrested and charged like Glickman.
Why would I? I'm the victim here.
I know. However, the bad news is the government has frozen all your financial resources. Bank accounts, credit cards, IRAs, you name it.
Hold up, they did what?
It's standard protocol, just until they sort things out.
So, I have no money, I lost my job, and I can't work in the only field I know?
This is the FDIC, IRS, and FBI we're dealing with. They are, for a lack of a better term, about their money. From the looks of it, Glickman was in the process of firing everyone above you in order to keep them out of any trouble, which meant someone had to take their place.
Which was me. Wow. So my promotion, it was all fake. Ooh, that asshole. I want to file a lawsuit right now.
Well, stand in line. There'll be hundreds filed, civil, criminal,
Wait, how am I supposed to live?
cash only.
It's all in my bank account, okay?
Listen, this thing's gonna take some time. Everything's being seized. My advice is that you take whatever money you have,
And what?
leave town. Do you have anywhere you can go that's
Safe, boring, slow. You paying for this, right?
What you drinking?
Something strong.
We got that.
As much as I can get with this.
That something got a name?
Apple martini. You know what? I'll let you decide what that something is. Ooh, was this distilled in BC or AD? Was that gasoline? Ugh. Ooh. Yeah, of course you don't want to hear from me. But I can't help it. Can I get another?
When they're drinking me, I get this feeling. When I'm out with my crew, this feeling make me wanna freak the boys and make some noise. Girl freak, wind up, sweat on me body glistening. Brain roll slow, whisper in your ear, you're listening. Me love the way I break it down. You make me wanna take your arm and pound, pound, pound. Like a real freak.
So that is how you burn fat without exercising. No? Wait, where you going? Oh, come on, come back. I won't talk about exercising no more. I'll buy you another shot. Oh, I got money in my sock. I saved it. Oh.
She's alive!
Bobby?
Yeah.
Why am I in your apartment? How did I get here? What happened last night? Wait, I'm sorry. Before you start, do you have coffee?
No.
Damn it.
You really don't remember anything. Well, I was at work, swamped, wrapped up as quickly as I could when I got your text. Then I pulled up on you just in time.
Just in time for what?
Francesca!
Ah.
Hey, I want her out of here, now.
You don't have to be so mean. I'm taking this. This is mine. Come on, you guys. My life is in shambles. Oh, don't be stingy, bruh. I've been here entertaining all your customers. You can share with me. I'm gonna be back for my money. You're mean. You're really nice, though. He gave me some good. Oh, hi. He's so kind. How you doing? Oh, wait. We gotta get my stuff.
Let's just get you to the car first.
But wait, what if they try to steal my purse? It's a whole bunch of money in my purse. Not.
She's not normally like this.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay.
Yes, so, this isn't at all random.
I see. Well, I would like to offer an official apology from the sober me.
Stop, it's fine. I spoke to Anita, and she asked if you could, sleep it off over here. Figured you prefer your family not see you like that.
No, thank you. Thank you both.
I mean, it happens. Left you some fresh towels in the bathroom if you wanna...
Wash off the shame? Sure. Yes, sure, I would like to. Bathroom? Okay. Oh. My body hurts. Did I fall? Yay. Welcome home. Thank you. My taste buds told me to do that.
So how you holding up?
That means you already know. I see bad news travels fast.
Well, I've been keeping tabs.
Yeah, some friends they turned out to be. I can't believe they dropped me like that thinking I did it. My work friends did the same. Well, thanks for the lift. 4 stars.
Nice pun. Hey, do I at least get a tip?
Ooh, well, I'm tapped. But would you settle for a hug?
From the girl voted prettiest late bloomer in Hazelhurst High? No question.
What? So I get to hug the guy voted nicest smile and hottest nerd?
Well, I gotta get back to the office.
Yeah, and I should probably stop stalling.
Hit me up later if you need anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Doesn't matter where we will go, I'll be a great escape. All that matters is being next to you, babe. There's no other place I'd stay. You take me far away, away with just a kiss and on your lips.
Okay, so remember to lay off the sweet.